Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our look at Two-Fisted Tales, the outstanding EC comic anthology of He-Man adventure, edited and written by Harvey Kurtzman. Once again, who supplies the cover. And what a striking cover it is, as all of them have been so far. His covers are very, they hit you in the gut. This one, just this Jeep is hitting a mine and exploding. Man, you just feel the power of it. It's really expressive. It's that Jeep is blowing up real good, as Billy Saul Urog would say. But just another great cover from Kurtzman. And we start off with Ambush. This takes place during the Korean War. It's illustrated by Jack Davis. So Jack Davis has just recently come to EC, and he's already a stellar contributor to these titles. All the stories in here are written by Harvey Kurtzman. So we see these two UN forces Jeeps, and they don't know it, but there's these North Koreans lying in ambush. Once again, the oblivious good guys, and in the foreground are the danger waiting for them from the bad guys. So we're introduced to these guys in the front Jeep here. There's the captain. There's this guy named Lucky, who I guess is called that because he survived many a scrap in Korea. He claims that it's because he has this Cupid doll kind of sewn into the lining of his helmet, and that's his good luck charm. And so right then, the first Jeep hits a mine. Man, look at that panel. That's like, I don't know why Roy Lichtenstein didn't steal that for a painting. And of course, the guys in the back Jeep start firing into the hills here. But their driver gets shot. They swerve off the road and crash. It looks like most of them lived. And even the guys who got hit by the mine, I guess they got thrown clear for the most part. Unfortunately, one guy got smashed under the Jeep. Smashed flat. I like seeing this overhead view so we get a whole layout of the situation. We can see the enemy soldiers and kind of gives you a sense of what's going on. Man, this Jack Davis art is great. It's not as like normal, mature, I don't know if you want to call it mature because he had this style when he was a young man, but it's still like formative. It's still amazing, but it's not as like scratchy and wispy as Jack Davis's line would get, which is like he's kind of known for that, his inking. But this is out great war comics. So now they all basically make it to this ditch for safety. The captain is killed in this run for cover. I gotta say, these are so much more dramatic than like the Robert Kanigher DC titles. It's every now and then a guy would die there, but it was semi off camera. I mean, this is brutal. When a guy gets shot in these comics, it's like the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, which is like, oh man, that's harsh. This is like true war is hell type comics, DC would always say, make war no more. If their comics were more like this, more kids would have grown up being like, yeah, war's terrible. I'm never going to war. So now they're stuck in this ditch. They realize they're sitting ducks. They've got to get word to the high command to get some help. Someone's got to run out there. So it's a dangerous run. The ditch doesn't cover the whole thing until the woods. So a Pretty Boy, the young soldier, he volunteers. He doesn't make it more than a few steps before he's mowed down. See what I mean? Like, look at this. This is like you're feeling like there's a big bullet hole right in his helmet. It's gnarly. So then the enemy starts throwing grenades. One of the guys bravely lunges for the grenade and throws it out of the ditch. But in doing so, he sets himself up for enemy fire, and he's shot too. This one rookie, he panics. And he's like, we just got to get out of here. They're going to kill us all. It's interesting that some of these poses almost look like the funny Jack Davis that we're used to. Because most of Jack Davis's career, he drew humor. And these look like they're panels from Mad, like these goofy kind of positions, body posturing. But this young rookie, he gets mowed down as soon as he leaves the trench. So now there's just two of them left. There's Tex and there's Lucky. And Lucky's still feeling confident. He's got his QP doll in his helmet. He feels a little untouchable. So finally the Koreans think they killed everyone, the North Koreans. So they come out of their hiding spot and they actually go up to one of the wounded soldiers and are just pumping bullets at his dead body. And this just infuriates these two American soldiers. Look at this crazy, almost psychedelic coloring here, showing their rage. They run out of the ditch and they just start mowing down these North Koreans. They're doing pretty good, but then Tex gets shot. Lucky runs out of bullets, smashes the guy with his carbine, pulls out a knife, and it looks like he's about to get shot by this North Korean soldier. And then all of a sudden a shot rings out and kills the North Korean soldier. It seems that the UN troop just happened to be going by. And the ironic twist, which all these stories have to have, is he says, my Cupid doll kept me alive. I'm the only one left. And then when he takes his helmet off, he says, this isn't my helmet. It's Pretty Boy's. He must have switched helmets in the confusion. He's been wearing my helmet all the time. And this one soldier says, hey, I think I found your helmet over here, sir. It seems that a bullet hit your helmet right where your good luck charm is tied. It went through your good luck charm and through Pretty Boy's face. He also comments, he isn't pretty anymore. And then I love this, how we just see this little vignette of the Cupid doll with a bullet hole through it. So basically, Harvey Kurtzman just saying, yeah, there's no luck. It's just whatever. Next is Pigs of the Roman Empire. I love that title. This is penciled by John Severin and inked by Bill Elder. We're in a Roman gladiator arena, and we see a slave gladiator is about to be killed. He lost the fight, so he's looking to his owner to say, please have mercy on me. Give me the thumbs up. We see this slave owner, this aristocrat. He has like basically a wise old man, kind of his consultant type person. He says, hey, he was a very loyal slave. He served you well. You should give him the sign to live. And this asshole rich guy is just like, oh, I gambled heavily on him and he lost me all this money. Fuck this guy. So it's interesting because this guy, Brennus, this old man, he's a slave too, but he's also very smart. And the rich guy agrees with this. I'll get his name. Let me get his name. I don't want to just keep calling him the rich guy. Maybe we'll find it out soon enough. So he basically says, don't contradict me. You're still a slave. And he gives the thumbs down. And of course, he is killed by the other gladiator. And he just laughs. This guy's, we know after one page that this guy's a piece of shit. He mentions the Vandal barbarians that are heading to Rome. Well, this is Carthage, but it's the Roman Empire, you know? And he basically discounts them. He's like, we don't have to worry. I bet you're worried about those Vandal barbarians. They'll never make a dent into the greatness of, the Roman Empire. But now we do see the Vandals crossing the desert, heading towards Carthage. Kind of look like Viking guys. His art is so exacting. Of course, it's probably Harvey Kurtzman's editorial edict. He was fanatical about research, and his artists were, he had to redraw things over and over. Harvey Kurtzman would say, oh no, a Roman centurion's helmet didn't look quite like that, So they had to be very exacting, or Harvey Kurtzman would make them redraw everything. Sorry, so the guy's name is Commander Decius. Sorry about that, I just found the name. And a soldier runs in and says, the Vandals are upon the city right now. And Decius suits up. And we also get the sense that he's kind of a drunkard. He's a wino. He's just always drinking wine. Even though he's going into battle, he's like, give me a goblet of wine. So he leads his Roman soldiers to attack the Vandals. And he wants Brennus to come. He says, follow closely. He actually has a wine bearer. He has to have constant wine served to him while he's in combat. So at first, the Romans, using their famous Roman phalanx, do very well against the barbarians. And with their spears, they mow down a huge line of them. Turns out it was just a trap. In the rear, behind all these guys who were kind of sacrificial lambs, the Genseric, the king of the Vandals, he smiles because this is exactly what he wanted. And once the battle is started, he leads his men, his cavalry, kind of flanks them on the left side, the left flank. And so it becomes a total massacre. The Vandals just mow through the back. They actually come up on the back side of the Romans. The battle turned to retreat, retreat turned to rout, and many a Roman soldier met an ugly end that day. So now it looks like pretty much all that's left is Decius. God damn it, I forgot his name again. I gotta get this, I'm sorry. Decius. So Commander Decius and Brennus are the only ones left, and they're wandering through the desert. Finally, Brennus is telling him what he really feels. He figures they're dead. He knows that they're gonna die in this desert. So he's like giving him a piece of his mind. Of course, Decius gets really pissed off because he's a total asshole. And he says, I'm sorry, the horse dies. And he says, I'm going off. We've got a water skin and a wine skin. I'm taking the wine skin. I'll leave you the water skin. But he stabs it first like a dick. And he says, see you later, my slave. You served me well. And he walks off into the desert with his wine sack or wine skin. But Brennus, even though he knows he's going to die, there's a strange smile playing over his face, for he knew that he would have his triumph in the end. Only a drunken fool takes wine to the desert. In the boiling heat, wine becomes liquid fire in the throat. It adds to your thirst. It doesn't slake it. So basically, he dies in total agony. And before he falls, the vultures already start flying around. And then we see them all descend. So we know that Decius has met his just desserts. This was the way Decius left this world, drunk, corrupt, and without feeling for his fellow man. I don't think that he entered the world drunk. That would be weird. Maybe his mom was an alcoholic, so he had it in his bloodstream when he was born. Here we have the letter pages. And we have one of those stories to satisfy the postal rates. This is a really dumb one. Incredibly dumb. It's very annoying, actually. Unknown, as almost all these are. Oh, and now we have... Look at this, guys. This makes up for all the shitty one-page stories in EC Comics. The Murmansk Run. So it's 1940. I guess the most dangerous naval route you could take was going through the Arctic Circle. The Nazi subs were constantly on the prowl there. They make it seem like the ocean was just full of the wreckage of other ships. I don't know if that's true, but that's how many ships were just massacred in this area. It was a killing ground. So even if just falling in the water, even if you just fell overboard, you'd be frozen to death in less than 60 seconds. Pretty scary image of this guy just frozen solid to this rowboat. So now we see this merchant marine vessel, the SS Bunker Hill, and it's on this Murmansk route. Their tanker is full of 88,000 barrels of aviation gas. And they're heading to Murmansk. Guys, I haven't even mentioned yet, but you could probably tell by just the lusciousness of these waves, it's Wally Wood again. And like I keep saying, he's already so good, he's going to keep getting better. It's hard to believe. This still isn't prime Wood. This is better than almost every artist who's ever drawn a comic. But it's still not the heights he's going to scale. It's still fucking amazing. Look at this face here. There's so many great panels in here. Just, you could tell Wally Wood was young and hungry. He wasn't doing his little cheating that he did in this, later on. He had all those like 24 panels that always work, or 22 panels. He was famous for saying, if you can't, swipe something, just steal it, copy it, flat out copy it. And but I don't think he had that attitude here. He is going full bore into this drawing paper. So we see this one guy here in the ship. His name's Uriah Bragg. He's a seaman, and all he could think about is just how much he hates this cursed cold ocean, and he's constantly cold. He's so regretful about signing up for this mission. And so he's on deck, he's on duty, and he's smoking a cigarette. The captain comes out and says, "What the hell are you doing? This area is crawling with slubs. We have blackout regulations for a reason. They could see that and we'll be dead." So he sends him back to his quarters. Of course, this Uriah Bragg, we can already tell he's a shit. So he just gets angry. He's like, "Oh, this guy's young enough to be my son. He's giving me orders. Fuck this guy." He goes into the galley and he orders the cookie to make him some coffee. He's just like, "I'm not your slave. Eat chow hours are over. Make your own coffee." So he gets all angry and starts beating up the cookie. So he's just a really bad guy all around. I love that panel too. Look at that face. It looks like Dave Stevens or something. And, I should say Dave Stevens looks like him. So, of course, he keeps griping about the cold. That's one thing about Harvey Kurtzman in his writing. He really just hammers you over the head with an idea. If a character doesn't like the cold, every third panel, he's going to be thinking about, this damn cold. So finally, this guy wakes him up. He says, "Hey, it's your time for the watch." And he's just being a big baby. He's like, "I don't want to get out of bed." He pulls the blankets off of him. Bragg slugs him. God, look at that great panel where it's put on tilt. Really powerful. So everyone else shows up and stops the fight. And so he's got a plan. He's like, "I'm not going to spend another night on deck freezing my ass off. I got this can of Sterno. I can light it and warm my hands. I don't give a shit about the blackout regulations." He doesn't. He's just a piece of shit. So he goes up there. The guy he's relieving says, "Oh, it's a bad night. I can barely feel my fingers." And he just smiles, knowing about his little scam going on. So as soon as the guy leaves, he lights the can of Sterno, and he puts his jacket around it, But of course, it's not going to be perfect. Oh, and then on top of that, he lights a cigarette. So even though he's got his jacket as much as he can around it, there's still a little twinkling on the black background of the vast night sea. And a submarine, a Nazi sub, sees it. They shoot off a torpedo, and the ship explodes with all of that gasoline in it. Now Uriah had all the heat he needed. Now he ran in agony, seeking the very cold he had avoided. But when he jumped into the northern sea, instead of the icy water, he found flaming gasoline. He kind of deserves it. I'm glad he died in total pain. And of course, once the ship, the fire has gone out, it just leaves a little more debris on the water, on the Murmansk Run. Oh man, I like that story. So next we have Search, written and drawn by Harvey Kurtzman. Chances are he colored it too, because as Maurice Severin has said in interviews, Harvey not only colored all of his covers, but he also colored a bunch of his interior art. This is very interesting here. I wonder if he had already seen Bernard Krigstein. His art's a little different in this than it has been. It's definitely rough-hewn and kind of, simple. But it almost has this like little bit of Krigstein going on. When earlier it was just like his crazy rough cartooning. There's something about like this like more stylized. It's definitely Harvey Kurtzman when you look at it. It's like you can't mistake it for anyone else. But I definitely see it's a little different than the first three stories we've read from him. So it's 1943. We're in Italy. And we see these American GIs. For the most part, we've pushed out most of the German Nazis in Italy. But of course, it's a long slog, and the Americans slowly made their way up the boot. I love these silent panels that Harvey Kurtzman puts in. So many other comic writers, especially back then, would have captions of like, "Ooh, the loud buzz of the falling missiles." Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to do that. The pictures do it just fine. So we see these two soldiers in a crater. They're getting their asses bombed on. So they're setting up a machine gun. This one guy's Italian. He even says "Mamma Mia" just to prove to us that he's Italian. He's an Italian American. And then he's a little more experienced. And then there's a young rookie he's with. They're setting up the machine gun and getting ready for an onslaught. He sends the rookie off on to get some rocks to prop up the gun. And he sees a boot just coming out of the wall of this bomb shelter. And, the Italian guy just says, "Yeah, you'll get used to that. You see that all the time. Some poor fella caught in an air raid." So they got some quiet time before the attack. So the rookie says, "How come they haven't sent you back for arrest? You've been like fighting this war for just years straight with no leave." And his name's Joe, by the way, the Italian. He says, "Well, I have some personal reasons." So apparently this guy was born in Italy when he was a little kid. His parents died when he was young, so his older brother Mario supported him. He was a good brother. He worked really hard, and as soon as he made enough money, he sent Joe over to live in America with some relatives. He didn't have enough money to send himself, and then the war happened. So of course they were cut off from each other. So he has a ulterior motive. He really wanted to come back to Italy. He positioned himself in the infantry division that was going to invade Italy. And he's looking for Mario. He's looking for his brother. So now the Germans start attacking. And they've got the machine gun perfectly set up. And look at this. I love these 4 panels. These just monochromatic, different colors. They're just mowing down the Jerry's. So he tells I guess they kill all the Germans, so now they got a little more quiet time to chat. And he says, yeah, I'd probably recognize my brother, even though I haven't seen him since I was a little kid. But the real way I'll recognize him is because we had matching twin rings. We had our initials engraved on them. Mine has J.A. on it for Joseph Angliosani. And Mario will be wearing his. He never took it off. So that's how, if I do find him, I'll know it's him. Then a second wave of Nazis come. Guys, look at this panel here. This is amazing stuff. Just the design of that, the line. Oh, I love it. So then some Nazis start creeping up on the side there. So they got to swing the machine gun around. Yeah, most of this comic is monochromatic, which does kind of imply that it probably was Harvey Kurtzman, because this is rare for an EC comic to be this, just one color in each panel. So it looks like he fought him back. The Nazis have either retreated, or they're dead. He says, hey, I think we got him, kid. And then he shakes the kid. The kid's dead. And he kind of starts talking to the kid. He's talking to himself because the kid's dead. He's like, yeah, that's the way it's been, kid. From one dirty foxhole to the next. He kind of recounts the whole path of the American invasion through Italy, like a mini history lesson. And he says, that's the way war is, kid. You meet some swell guys along the road and you lose them just as fast. Then you're sorry you ever got to know them. That's Campaleone, where I was born, right up ahead, kid. That's where I left my brother. I better get going. And so he steps out of the shell hole, continues north. And then all of a sudden, there's more shelling. And it tears up this little bomb shelter. And that foot that was protruding from the wall of the shelter, it gets knocked out of the dirt and flown into the sky. And the body that belonged to the foot was thrown to the surface, and on the hand was a ring. Guess what's on that ring? M.A. for Mario Angliosani. That's kind of a ho-hum ironic twist. That's kind of like, oh, okay. So his brother was dead. Whatever. Look how rough this is here. This is really interesting line work. But it totally works. When you're looking at it, it's like, oh, that's a sad, dead hand. Oh, man. This is some gorgeous stuff. I'm just excited to see how Harvey Kurtzman's going to progress. I've read all these before, but it's been years. And I guess back then, before I had a video channel, I wasn't looking at art as closely. Not that I'm very good at analyzing art, as you guys can tell. If you've seen any of these videos, I don't really have any terminology. I just basically say, ooh, I like that, or I don't like that. So, but I don't remember being this blown away when I read this, back in the 90s, that this Harvey Kurtzman art is outstanding. So I'm excited about the next issue. I hope you guys are too. Hope you guys like this video, and I hope to see you next time here at the, I almost said the Harvey Kurtzman. Okay, at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.